Good evening. Um, the subject this evening is spiritual warfare. Um, and I'm gonna try my best because this is very hard. I've been trying to do this video for a while, at least 2 to 3 hours, and it's just like I start and then I have to stop because it is a difficult subject and there's a lot of things to cover. So I just want to go through the simple, just keep it simple. All right. So let's start with the kingdoms that we're dealing with. So we have our Father's kingdom that is heaven, beautiful, glorious heaven. Um, he's all knowing, all powerful. His kingdom is run by love, light, all that is good. It's good, right? Then we have this other kingdom that is hates. It's dark. It's beneath our Father's kingdom because they are two heavens, right? Or two levels of heaven, better said, right? Because heaven is heaven where our Father is at. He has his throne. And then you have a lower level where he was cast down, the it was cast down to that lower level with his minions, right? Until the appointed time. Okay? And then you have where we at, the realm of where we live at, right? That has a veil, and there's a whole bunch of different spirits that live amongst us, cohabitate with us, that we do not see. The reason why we do not see them is because our God Almighty has put a veil. And I believe, because I've seen these and these ugly things, are because he just don't want we're not to deal with them, you know. I do have to add that everyone that does go out of themselves, as a matter of fact, scratch that. But any which way. So then we have those two entities. So now we're at our level, right? Where regular folks is at. We're in the world, and then we have this veil, and then we have these dark spirits that they're around us. And how do they interact with us? Well, they wait around. That's their job every day, for our weak moments so they can latch onto us. And once they latch onto us, unless we are aware, which most of the time we're not, um, we could rebuke them. But most of the time we're not. A lot of people don't even know what rebuke is. A lot of people don't even understand that authority. Um, and so they keep and they stay there. And so, and in order for me to explain that more, because people are going to be like, oh, I don't have nothing inside me. What is it? Well, you wouldn't even know, right? Because they stay dormant, and their spirits like of anger, of lying, of laziness, all different type of spirits that are just your regular, you think is depression, oppression, and every spirit has a name, right? Okay. So you're walking around with these spirits and they take a hold of you and they can last there for years. That they really can, and they bring friends and it's a party. They do parties. That's when you start seeing people messing up, right? Because one or two are probably not going to affect you. Then you get 50, 60, and it doesn't amount to that much. Then you have people just doing crazy things out here, right? That's what you're seeing now more and more. And let's not forget that there was a story in the New Testament that states that when Jesus went to take to cast the demons out of the man that was crazy, he asked them who they were. He said legions, and God said, they're legions. So that must have been like 1,000 spirits just in one, right? Yeah, they hang out like that. And so that's where, when you see spirits that hang out like that, that's when you see torments of mental. issues and stuff like that. And we're seeing that on a day by day basis more and more. And so that's why I say that this spiritual warfare is just a little out of control. And do we have authority? God gave us authority since the beginning, since Genesis, over these minions, right? Since the beginning of time, right? Of course, the authority that we do have is given to us with the power and authority of Jesus Christ Almighty. It's not like we have the authority, you have any power. We have no power. None of us do, right? But at the same time, we have all power with the with the with the glory of Jesus Christ. So the reason why that's very important for you to understand is because there is no reason why any of these spirits have any power over your life, my life, or anyone else's life, right? And the dark ones, they the way they manifest their energies is through um manifesting the energy. So when our Father will just say something, they have to create it. If you could understand that. Our Father speaks things into creation, beings into everything into creation. He speaks it. He speaks it to creation, right? The enemy does not have that power, right? He could do certain things here and there. I don't think his power is very great, but he was an angel, right? But you can never compare, right? The power of the glory of our Father to these powers. That's why it's it's just frustrating to me that first of all preachers and all um they should know this, and they should be cleansing out the every time they go somewhere is cleansing. I mean, I don't understand how you how these preachers go about having any kind of authority like they doing something. They're not doing anything because they're not cleaning up all this mess that these ugly ones, these evil ones are just leaving. And once these dark energies, like, in order for them to have any kind of power, this is why I'm so upset, because is that the reason why they have power is because they have been allowed to um do these rituals, and no one's cleaning up their rituals. It's like there's no real um authority in the church anymore, because back in the days, even when I was a kid, I'm a little older now. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, our elders knew better than that. You couldn't come into church with any kind, just saying any kind of thing, or just the way people carry on nowadays. We would know that there's a spirit in there, and that spirit has to be called out, and that spirit has to be cleaned out. That was something that was an everyday thing. Nowadays, people don't even want to talk about it. They call it, oh, God is not real. Those things aren't real, really. But we are living the ugliest times I've ever seen here in in the our physical realm, because it's not like that in the spiritual realm, right? Um, there's a war being fought, right? And we have to do our part, right? And the way we do our part is by cleansing ourselves and understanding that these spirits are real, All we need to do is rebuke them, recognize them, right? Because you need to recognize your faults. I mean, that's how you recognize them, is by recognizing your faults, because that's all they do. They don't have really no power, right? They take the energy that you create and uh, they grow it. So if you have just a little anger, what a little anger would be, just a little anger will become an outrageous anger, like you can't stop. Like, have you ever seen, um I've gone through that so many times. When I used to have to live with that anger spirit, and it's horrible, right? Because they tell you one little thing and you take it somewhere else, like what they call Karens, or God forbid, I don't think I was ever a Karen, but you know, that's what they do. Whatever little thing that you might have incorrect inside of you, they manifest it to be bigger, and it gets bigger and it gets stronger and it gets stronger. All dark spirits get stronger when you provide energy, but you need to provide the energy. We're the ones with the energies, right? Okay, so they, yeah, I guess that's the way I could. Am I correct, Father, in saying it? Right, because we manifest the energies and they evolve it, if in other words, and that's how they work within us. And that's why you can have all different type of all different type of that's why you can have all different type of energies and spirits, and not be aware they're there. So it's important for us to learn how to cleanse them out. um So, going back to the way the dark energies work. So, one of the things that they do is that they create these rituals, and I don't really want to get into the subject of how ugly and disgusting and the things that they do to create these ugly energies, but they do all these horrible things, really horrible things. And so they manifest this energy and they manifest dark energy. And so they usually like to do this by territory, right? So the more territory they cover, um, the more evil persists. So the energy is not there just for a moment. It stays there until we clean it out. You gotta clean it out. So these spirits that I'm talking about, they're in you until you clean it out. These energies that they create all over the place, they're there until we clean them out. Um, and it's all over. You can see it. Just turn on the news, right? On top of the fact that they really mess with us, right, by fearmonger, right? Because fearmonger is going to go under hate. God does not know, God does not teach you to be afraid at all. Our God is not a God of confusion. Um, and therefore, He protects you. He tells you, fear not, for I'm with you. Fear not, So we know that this manifestation comes from him. And why do they do that? Well, because every time we fear, every time we hate, every time we get angry, every time any ugly experiences that we might have is manifested, they get energy. Isn't that crazy? So, and all we have to do is counteract it with love, kindness, compassion, empathy. That's what we have to do. That's why this movement up in Canada made such a roar. That was an organic, beautiful movement. And I'm not talking about what's behind it, because for all these people that have called me a conspiracist, woo, child, I'm glad I was a conspiracy theorist. Guilty right here. Anyway, um, why is this important? The reason why it's important is because if we collectively are able, or not even collectively in that sense, right? Because we don't need to come together. We need to do exactly what they do. When they do their um, bad deeds, they do it at a certain time, do it in a certain place, where certain, these people are so to the T that they're symbols. There's nothing that is a coincidence. No colors, no places, the horribleness that they do, and they're down to the T. And what kills me about them is that they are so diligent, and it should be an embarrassment to God's children because we should be as diligent like that to honor our gracious Father in heaven because He protects us so much that we don't even deal with that. We keep going, and they're focused on destroying our lives, and we're just focusing on all the entertainment, work, and this, and no one's focusing on what what you're supposed to protect, which is your soul. Because guess what? We are born, right? We are born. And since we are born, we must die. Don't forget that. So since we must die, then we are going to be going to that judgment. And if you're not correct, or if you have no connection, if you're not having any understanding with your father, what are you to expect at that moment? Have you thought about that? Has anyone put that in front of you? I'm sorry, I have to say it because, I just want to wake people up. And not that I'm telling you, oh my God, run and repent and do all these things. No, just talk to God. And if you see that you find the need, that you are going through depression, oppression, anxiety, try to call out that spirit. Maybe that's what's going on inside of you. Open up that Bible. You don't have a Bible, speak to God. You know, um, any which way. I do have a prayer that comes out 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night. This is the 11th day, and I'm trying to get there. It's still 4:30, and so I'm trying to create the same thing, oppose, right? Because our glorious Father gives us that authority that we could bind them and rebuke them, and we need to clean our land, our hearts, and get closer to God. And that's what I'm trying to open up in our platform. Um, that's basically it. Because if they could harness all the damage that they do with having so little power, I could imagine what we could do. All God's beautiful children. Do you know how many beautiful children of God are out there quiet, just waiting? Just us coming together and prayer in your house. You don't have to go nowhere. But just be 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night. Let's remember. Let's make it a trend. What you doing at 7 o'clock in the morning? What are you doing at 7 o'clock at night? Can we start a prayer session? My prayers, I'm trying to keep it down to 10 minutes a day. Not that I wouldn't ask you to please connect with your father during the day, because that's the best thing. And you know what? I leave it up to God once that connection is there. But if I could assist in any which way with any questions about the experiences that I've had, I'm opening the door. Um, and if there's any more questions that you might have pertaining to the subject, I'm opening the door. Um, yeah, but we should start this. I have no one that has gone into prayers with me, and I'm live in the morning. I've been live for the past 3 days. And I'm going to keep doing live sessions for our prayer time. And then some videos like this, hopefully I'll get an audience and answer some questions. But it's 20-minute mark, and I think that's one of the things my father wants me to do is keep them short and just open the subject. I'm going to review this to see how much I covered. And I'm just throwing this as an introduction. Uh, if anyone really has any questions, please feel free to um, just write them down below, and I will be so happy to respond. I'm like, I got someone listening finally. Even though I know that's not going to be for long because I know where this is going. And soon enough, a lot will have questions. We got to clean this up, people. It's not that hard. Let's give power and glory to where it's at. Our Father is there for us. All we need to do is humble ourselves and ask for it. And if you look at history in itself, it says it through the whole entire Bible. If my people were to humble themselves and ask for forgiveness, I will keep them away. I will keep them safe and heal the land. So have a good evening, everyone, and hope to talk. Hope to be able to respond to any of your questions soon. Bye.